Welcome, Culture Lab community. Thank you for joining us today on this brief test talk. Today we are going to be with the designer behind the installation pieces of the Incomplete Collection, Jordan Chlapecka. Jordan, say hi to the community.
Hi, community.
So let's go on into the art gallery. All right, so those of you who have not seen the show, but maybe have seen the art gallery, know that they're incredible art pieces that Jordan has conceptualized that also reference actual famous artists.
Yes.
Want to tell us about the first one, The Blessing?
Absolutely. So the first sort of code, and I guess I should probably give a little bit of context, is that each of these installation pieces were meant to be either private or semi-private as part of a larger theatrical show that is the Incomplete Collection. And the artwork are sort of representations of each of these characters and allow them space to sort of act and play and converse with audience members either publicly or privately. So each has their own feel, but we also wanted to pay homage to artists who are in the art world because our structure, our show is actually centered around a curator who is a character who's kind of has a tattered past and has collected these ideas that are characters in our show. So each has a sort of representative cove, as we've called them, or little sanctuary that represents what this idea is. So this is actually the Blessings Cove, but the artists that we were referencing are Christo as well as Anna Hamilton, I think it is, or Alex Hamilton, no, Anna Hamilton, and they're both fabric artists who do these large installation pieces that sort of like sweep and swoop down, but have this sort of angelic feeling or this sort of feeling that the grandness of fabric and how it hangs is just so splendid. And so we wanted to make sure that inside the blessing tent as well as outside there was this sort of largeness to its structure. And I do love the inside as well because when you look up it feels limitless.
Come this way. Now let's talk about the love song. This is the love song, everyone who hasn't been yet.
Alexander Calder.
Alexander Calder
is the artist that we're referencing. He's the famous installation artist who does the sort of hanging mobiles, and they are all balanced, but because our entire show is about incompleteness, it's actually a broken Calder. So these all hang separately, they're not balancing anything, they don't work together. Represents these things that you are sort of have reflections of and also see through, because it's an incomplete love song. It's about the framing of someone, right? Because a love song sort of does that. It frames someone or something, and then the reflective pieces also allow you to reflect on how you might see someone and how a love song is in fact a reflection of something else. But we do have someone who plays live piano and a song that slowly gets built through the evening. So each time there's a sort of loop that happens, something gets added to the song, and as an audience member you get to sit with the love song and discuss how you feel love and how you share love. Because she's trying to complete herself as a love song.
I got to sit with the love song and I loved it. Overusing that word?
Yes, absolutely.
This is actually one of my favorites, team. This is the insult piece, a part of the Incomplete Collection. Jordan?
Yes. And this references one of my favorite Banksy pieces, which is where he actually had a piece of artwork at an auction that shredded and sort of like I kind of loved this idea of mess, or the art itself being the mess that is created. And this is actually called the insult, and the insult is constantly shredding paper, and we thought of insults as almost like tiny paper cuts. And how when you insult someone, or even if backhandedly or to their face, like it actually kind of harms you just as much as it harms them. Like it hurts, but it also kind of like leaves this stinging behind. And we wanted that with the paper, but we liked the sort of focusedness, that there is this like pile of insults that have been shredded. And there's so much fun interaction that happens with the insults in this section that's really clever and interesting. And as the insult climbs the ladder, he says, "Oh, I'm above everyone," because when you insult someone, there is this kind of like, "Oh, I'm higher than them." But he actually never punches above his weight. He's always quite funny and quite dynamic with how he uses insult in the show.
And this piece gets talked about a lot when people come into the art gallery. People are delighted by the cloud and the keys.
I think that there's a sort of comedicness to this, but this is the apologies area, and this is referencing Michelle Forsyth and Sue Blackwell, and they do a little bit of this kind of these things that hang and sort of are dripping, but also this sort of there's a childlike wonder that comes from it, which is what we thought about an apology, because an apology in its humanness is about an appeasement behavior, and you sort of have to like be the most you have to have humility when you approach someone with an apology, and there has to be this sort of like meekness as you're like approaching someone, and we wanted the area to do that. So above you'll see this cloud that's raining keys, and then there's sort of this cartoonish facade, right, that you're like trying to disguise an apology, but then on the inside it's these children's chairs, which sort of like, again, like lowers you, right, as like you think about the stature when you like are trying to apologize for someone and how that changes, and that all happens within this little cove for the apology, is this sort of this like meekness. It's this kind of childlike wonder, but then also this sort of comedic ridiculousness that you're trying to hide behind something that's fake. And why would you do that when an apology can be so strong? Which is, keys and locks are strong, and you actually can see the locks that are hidden here. That the apology actually, the character in our show actually like unlocks and locks and relocks.
Yeah, so if you want to witness the apology, you have to get tickets to the show. And now to this piece, which is another fan favorite. People come in and they talk about this. I know who you're referencing. I'll tell you who I think of when.
Okay, who do you think I'm referencing?
Well, no, I think I know that I'm wrong.
Yes.
But I really love it because to me it's very Louise Nevelson.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I can see that.
Yeah.
I think that originally I wanted these to tower even higher.
Yeah.
Right, and it's the piece at the Tate that I think the Tate Modern that I kind of became obsessed with. He like basically has this entire tower of speakers, and there's just something about it that feels so grand, and yet kind of like oppressive, but then also kind of like magical, and it has this like whimsy to it because it's such an ordinary object that when stacked feels like a bigger than itself. And all of the drawers, by the way, this is the escape plan. This is the idea of an escape plan, and all of the drawers are filled with these objects that feel kind of like lackluster, like how would you escape using flowers? And I think that what's really interesting is thinking about how you might use some of these things to escape, and how they like represent different things that like humans use, like books to escape, or and then also thinking of like why would you need fake vines to escape something, or a furry coat. But at the same time, I think then the structure is like, what are we filing away? What are we escaping? There's all of these other layered meanings that come from it, and such an ordinary thing turned into art, I think, is kind of a fantastical way to approach, art making in general, but then also thinking about how we layer meanings based upon the objects and the subjects that we use, and then what we put inside those things.
Yeah, I mean, that's incredible. I wonder what I have in my drawers. Maybe I don't want to open mine, but that sort of brings us back to where we started. Thank you for joining us for this art talk and walk. Thank you, Jordan, for being a part of this.
Thank you. We have about 4 shows left of the Incomplete Collection. We close on November 19th. Come and see us.